Do you guys hear that?
Is that boss music?
Go naked and just go with the sword, and that's it.
What do I do with all this?
It says it in the title.
I'm a slut for roguelites.
Well, hello, and welcome back to the Unearthing Games Podcast. I'm your lead excavator, Nick, and today I'm joined by Erica.
Hi.
And we dig games. So, what you been up to, Erica? How's this past week been going for you?
It's been busy at work, and then today we are sad because we went and left our girls at my parents' house.
The puppies.
Yeah, and so we're getting ready for our trip next week, and my sister's going to babysit them down there because my parents are going with us, but we have to. They're like 4 hours away from us, so we had to drive down there this weekend.
Yeah. So it was a full weekend trip. You know, we were, yeah,
and so I'm real sad.
There will be no ruffs, borks, jingles, or squeaks in this particular episode.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's good. They love your parents' house. Your dad is their favorite, or at least second favorite person in the whole world.
Yeah, they have a sliding back door, and he got one of those like doggy door inserts just for them, like he said, for my grandbabies. And I was like, oh.
and as soon as we got there, Kiora and Ellie just both immediately were like, I know what this is. And they just ran right through it. Yeah. Like, at least the dog door they have is like the nice, like, flimsy plastic dog door, where ours is
like the flappy type, like standard dog door.
But ours is like rigid, so when like Ellie dives full speed into this one, it just goes and opens. Where ours is like slam, and it's like a car crash, and like, you know, it's just so much noise.
She gets a bit crazy.
Yeah, but
I miss her, and I miss Kiora, and it's not the same without them here.
It's not. I know. It's one of those things where, like, I don't know. I guess we live in a bigger house than we probably need.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But to the point that, like, all of our neighbors are like, so when are y'all having kids? And it's like, we have 2 dogs.
Yeah.
But, and so just not hearing them running around and barking at stuff and all that, it
makes the house feel emptier.
It does. So, it is sad. It is. Like, I miss them already. But, you know, it just gives me something to look forward to, you know? I mean, I'm looking forward to the trip. Don't take that the wrong way. But I mean, like, it's that whole, like, I can't wait to be reunited with
I know.
them.
They're going to be so happy to see us again. Yeah. Or very angry that we left them. I don't know yet.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Yeah.
I mean...
Could be both.
Could be both. So...
Yeah, so I haven't really... Oh, I started knitting another shirt I'm almost done with.
Yeah, you, like, have been, like, powerhousing your way through it.
Well, what helped is that this week, at the beginning of the week, it wasn't so busy, but I had some trainings I had to go through. Yeah. And so it's just listening to a lecture, and so I was knitting while I was listening, because you can multitask. And I do, so I was listening.
You can multitask.
I can multitask. So I was listening to the lecture as I was knitting, and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna get through this shirt, because this shirt pattern that I'm working on is the first pattern that I ever saw that made me want to learn how to knit.
Okay.
And so this is why I've learned to knit. And all these years I haven't knit this shirt, even though, like, this was the goal. Like, this was that shirt. So it's been like
how many years in the making?
9 years in the making at this point.
But hey, you're getting to it.
I'm old.
No, you're not old. But yeah, I know you were super excited to start this project, and then, like, we went down to Michael's and you found the soft yarn, and you were just so excited.
Well, I wasn't even planning on making this shirt. Like, I had another ball of yarn that you had gotten me just randomly from Walmart, and it's really pretty, like, color changing type of yarn. It's really soft. I was gonna make, like, a tank top for it because summer's coming, and we live in Texas.
Coming. Summer's always here.
Summer's here. But then we went to Michael's because I was like, let's just go look around. It's been so long since we've been out and I've been able to look at yarn, so let's go. And I found some cotton yarn that was super soft, and cotton's a very breathable fabric, like, it'll stay cool.
It's a very good summer material.
Yeah, and so I'm very I got the yarn, and it's like a pinkish color that I mean, I don't wear pink.
You're being bold. You're branching out.
I'm branching out, and I bought a pink and a cream, and I'm like, what am I going to use these for? Like, I have them, but what am I going to do? And so I was like, I'm going to make that shirt. and I started, and I'm like almost done, so it should be ready for our trip, and I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm super excited, honestly. If I'm being honest about it, like
Yeah.
so far I've seen what you make, and like right now, you're like 2/3 of the way through it.
Yeah, I'm like
so
at the
like
armpit.
it looks like a really great tube top
Bottom.
right now.
Yeah.
And that's the joke I keep making. It's like it's a great tube top. Now I just need some sleeveys.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm really excited for you.
Yeah, and then we also got to play more games this weekend.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. I'm still just flabbergasted at your sister and her husband and how like they weren't really into board games. Like I mean, her husband plays a ton of video games.
Yes.
So he's on our same wavelength for that.
Mm-hmm.
But they've never really been board game people.
No.
And we were all drinking. Like we talked about it in the last one, how we were drinking and we got them to play Catan and Sushi Go.
Yeah.
Well, your sister's one demand for us coming down this weekend was you have to bring Catan.
Yeah.
So we brought Catan, and we also brought Machikoro, and we brought Home on Lagrange.
Yes.
And I'm still flabbergasted by the fact that her husband just steamrolled everyone at the table in Machikoro. Like, he didn't just win.
I didn't even build the second of my 4
Yeah,
wonders.
you had the first landmark made.
Yeah.
I had 2 landmarks.
Yeah.
Then your sister had 3 built, and he got all 4.
Yeah.
And like not by like a little bit. Like it's not like your sister was close to getting there.
No,
because she still had the expensive one, the 22 gold guy.
Yeah.
And he just came in and was just like, I win.
Well, I feel like because he plays very aggressively, even in like other games that we've played, it's like, no, I'm not gonna let you have this. I'm taking it so that you can't have it. Like he plays aggressively, that sense. So when he played this game, there's the cafe and the family restaurant that are
that if people roll that number, they have to give you money.
Exactly, and so he got like 3 of them, and then
3 of each.
And then every time you rolled a 9, 10, or a 3, you basically gave him all your money, and so
so
it worked out for him.
Yeah, at one point he was making all of our money at one point.
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
But yeah, and so like I said, but I'm still just flabbergasted. Like the first time the guys played, and he was just immediately like, "All right, I get it, let's go."
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really great that when we played on your sister's table, it has like a built-in Lazy Susan.
Yeah.
On the center. And I thought it was just great because with the way we arrayed the cards out, you could just spin it around. So it's like, all right, it's your turn. So you go ahead and take a look.
Yeah, here are the cards.
Here are the cards.
You can read them.
You can read. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And
then we played Lagrange, and they thought that the endings were really funny.
Yeah, I still love the Admiral's Log.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me want to go and it makes me want to try different combinations. Like, I feel like the more and more we play it, I'm learning more about the game.
Yeah.
And, like, it has a lot of potentially like a lot of different variables for how you could do it and still win.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like I'm at the point where like I'm tempted to just throw some games so I can try.
Well, and that's what I wanted to do with the game we played. I wanted to just like get like two pairs, and I wanted it to be, I think, recreation and education. But then like some like my sister's husband took all of the education ones, and so like there wasn't any for me to take, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll just take.
Well, then he wound up making what you wanted. He
made
education and recreation.
He did.
It was
and
great.
I was like, okay, well, at least someone made it, and we got to. For me, like I just want to go and read through the Admiral's Log and see what all the different endings are.
No. It's the same thing as like how like you can't go and just read all the endings. You got to play the game.
No, I know.
You got to play it. We got to play it. We got to master it.
But yeah, I think next time I want to try to do all of one thing and see what that does.
I haven't tried that yet for any of them really. I did the 2-pair one for a different one of our playthroughs.
Yeah, we each did a 2-pair one.
Yeah, we've done a couple. You and me in our games, we've done a couple where we do the 4 different ones, which is like that's the big money.
Yeah,
we go for the optimum points goal. We go for the big money, and then I did the whole 2 and 2-pair. But now we need to try all of the same kind, or 3 of one and then 1 rando.
Yeah, I really like the endings. Well, in the game we played with my sister and her husband, we ended up with the same.
Yeah, we had the same thing accidentally. Like I wasn't looking at your station.
I wasn't looking at yours either.
But I do like. It was the kind of thing like every time we had played before, it had just been us, 2-player. I do think that having more people makes it more interesting and it adds a more dynamic to it. It does kind of make me want to like house rule it a little bit. Like maybe we don't have to fricking drop one off the end every time, you know? Or maybe I want to recheck the rules to make sure we're doing that right. Because I feel like the mass driver, you shouldn't... It should be like either if no one buys one, then one drops off, and you slide it down, you know?
Yeah.
But if someone buys one, then you just have things slide down, and you stock a new one, rather than having the one be bought and one drop off. Because it was just really annoying because I was the one having to do it every single turn.
Yeah, and there are some turns where it's like, okay, I'm just going to discard and draw one, and then draw to end my turn.
And then like 3 people do that in a row, so I'm just like 1, 2, 3 off the board, slide it all down, put 3 more out.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like I said, maybe if we pass the responsibility around or something, or what, but me being the only person doing it, it was annoying.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
But it was also to the point where it's like, I feel like I said, I feel like it should like kind of house rule it where maybe you don't have to do it every time. Like, it's just that the mass driver must always have that number in it, you know?
And you only add a new one if one was bought?
Yeah, like if someone bought one, then you slide everything down and you put a new one. Or if no one bought one, then you drop one off and slide everything down.
Okay.
That's my thought.
I would say you need it to keep cycling, though, so that you see the different ones.
But the whole, like I said, the whole, like, oh, I bought one, but we still have to drop one off, like, that just... Like I said,
I like it
for me, it felt annoying because I had to do it.
No, yeah.
And there were times where, like, you discarded and drew one, your sister discarded and drew one, and her husband discarded and drew one, and so I'm just like... And you're like, Nick, are you gonna go? And I was like, give me a minute, you know? And it's like, sheesh,
No, I do like the cycling of the modules, though, because there's a lot of times where it's like, I want education, and there's none out there, so I'm just gonna discard and draw, and that gets rid of 2.
Okay.
Or that gets rid of 1, you know... And then if my sister buys one, then that gets rid of 2. And if, you know, he passes, then that gets rid of another one. So you get to see a lot more come out.
That's true. Well, but the game also has cards to, like, increase the cycle. Like her husband played one that got rid of everything on the board, and you had to draw all new modules.
Yeah, but I had never seen that card playing before.
Well, there's a lot of cards.
And we had gone through pretty much the entire stack of cards.
We did. By the end, we had to reshuffle the stack.
Yeah, I had... like, of the resource cards.
Oh.
So I don't think that that's a very common card.
Yeah, I guess it's not. I think there's like 1 or 2 of every type of card in there.
Yeah.
And I think, like, if there's 2, they have, like, different pictures, but they're the same thing kind of deal. But like I said, I mean, it's... Like, I really like that game.
Yeah,
like,
it's a lot of fun. I like it.
Yeah, like, I think it deserves a higher place on the Board Game Geek ratings. I think it's like 12,000 and something. I was like, he deserves to be higher than that.
I mean, there are a lot of games out there.
But it's hard.
Game.
It's hard to break out of obscurity. Like, it has to be like an absolute like box office smash hit. And so like you look at the games that are in the top of the echelons, and they're games that have usually, most of them have been around for a while.
For a long time.
Like freaking Gloomhaven and Twilight Imperium.
Yeah.
4th edition, because there's like 4 different editions of Twilight Imperium.
Yeah.
Granted, I want both of those games. Well, Twilight Imperium more than Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure how I feel about legacy games. But that's something we can explore at a later time, you know? Like, I don't know. But
and you've also been toying with the idea of making a new game. Making a game.
Well, yeah.
Not even a new game, just making a game.
Yeah, making a game. Yeah, I know I've been... Like, it's the kind of thing, like, I'm excited about it, because, like, I used to, like, write random nonsense a lot, you know? And it used to be like I'd be walking around and be like, I would like see something stupid, like, oh look, a stapler. And like it'd be like the little light bulb goes on over my head and I'm like, huh. And so like I would write something down on like a post-it note or a piece of paper, and I would like rip off that corner that I wrote my note on and tuck it away for later.
Yeah.
That's happening now, but like I'm thinking about like board game ideas, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'll be like looking at something and I'm like, that's a really cool idea.
How far do staples shoot? And can that be a dexterity?
Could that be a thing, you know? Yeah, and so it's like, man, you know, you just get random ideas. Like I've already got 3 like base ideas written down. I need to start sitting down and looking at different ways to like actually try to make them like flush out and be viable ideas. Like, and what's really funny is like the first one I thought of was the most complex one.
Yes.
And then it's like idea number 2, I got talking to you about some other games, and it was like, you were like, well, wouldn't this one be a cool idea? And I was like, my eyes got wide, and the light bulb went on. It's like, oh my god, that would be a great game. Yeah. What? I'd play that. And then I don't know where the third one.
I don't remember.
Oh, the third. It was a random joke at IHOP. I was like, because like I think a Katy Perry song came on,
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and so I was like, what if there was a card called the Katy Perry?
In like a sword fighting.
In like a
game or
sword
something.
fighting. So obviously, can't use Katy Perry's name, but still.
No.
But yeah, so
Please.
random ideas. So lots of cool things jumbling around. Have no idea what goes into designing a game. I'm looking into that. Found some website called like thegamecrafter.com, which seems pretty cool. Like I think you can. It seems like they have like it's kind of like it has a bunch of base like tokens and stuff you can use. Like you tell them, oh, I want a game board of X dimensions. Like they have like they're like, hey, we have 8 different sizes of game board. Pick your game board. And then it's like we have all these tokens. Like, do you want meeples? Do you want tiddlywinks? Do you want
dice or cards?
Yeah. And then you upload like your artwork and stuff and like what you want, and then you can order like a copy. So like I could like design my own game and like draw little stick figures and stuff and upload it and then order it, and they would send me like basically a box of my game. So I'd have like one copy and be like, wow, now I can take this over to play, like next time we go and hang out with my family, I'll bring it and be like, look guys, I made a game.
Yeah.
And they're like, Nick, but it's stick figures. And I'm like, artists are expensive. Play the game.
Well, yeah, and I mean, before you even go that far, you could always just print stuff out.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was like, we have a printer.
No. I know. I'm just thinking I have no idea what goes into this, so I have a whole lot of research to do.
Like in one of the games you wanted to use cards, like think of what the different cards are going to be, how many you're going to have, and then print them out. And then
we have some heavier stock paper.
Yeah.
So you just print them all out, cut them out, and then you and me can sit and play test it.
Yeah, and I have one of those cutter things.
Oh, yeah, those satisfying. Yeah. It's scary, but like.
Yeah, you don't want your fingers.
It's like that paper cutter you would see in like grade school, where you see the teacher cutting.
Ones. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those, and so. Like I said, it's scary, but oh so satisfying. But still.
And that way you could play test it and stuff before you actually had a mock-up made.
Well, yeah, you would do the mock-up when you're either trying to play test it with strangers. Yeah. Because everything I've read online does say you want to play test with lots of people.
Yeah, not just like your family, because they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you're great. Your game is awesome. I really like this," and it's just.
I would hope I think I have a strong enough relationship with my brothers.
Yeah.
That they would be like, Nick, I like the idea, but your game kind of sucks. You know, like I would hope they would say that, or at least do the whole constructive criticism where it's like, here are things I liked, here are things that can be better.
Yeah,
and the second list might be longer than the first.
Art.
Well, obviously, the one thing I will say is I do know several artists online. Mm-hmm. We've used them, like the one that made the sketches for our website.
Oh yes.
So I have artists I can reach out to. I have no idea what goes into That's something to figure out.
Yeah, that's something completely different, especially if you're doing cards. And then if you want every card to be different, then that's a lot of art that they have to come up with.
That's one thing. Thinking about games and stuff, I know, especially if there are, card games where, I guess it really just depends on how much you want to go into it.
Yeah.
Do you want to have where the artwork on every card is different? Mm-hmm. Or do you want it to be where, maybe you have, 2 different versions of a card that could show up?
And there's, 8 copies or something.
So, you have, I'm thinking I don't know, you have the guy version of a dude swinging a sword and a girl version of a person swinging a sword, and you just have if you have 8 swings, mm-hmm. and you just have 4 girl, 4 guy, so you have to commission 2 pieces of art from an artist.
Yeah.
So I know it's not cheap, but it's the kind of thing you later on
you just got to start taking some art classes.
I know. I was I got to start drawing.
Yeah.
I know, right? So yeah. We've talked about that too, about
mm-hmm.
for our YouTube thumbnails and stuff like that.
Yeah,
trying to draw stuff.
I've always thought about drawing, but I feel like for me, it's the hardest thing is I always want things to be perfect.
Ooh, yeah.
When I can't. If I draw one eye and then the other one's slightly smaller, that bothers me.
Well, but you train for that stuff. You practice,
Well, that, and then if you have, we were talking about getting, one of those drawing tablets, you could just copy that eye, paste it over there,
and do the whole flip thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
obviously, yeah,
there's ways around
we'd get a Wacom tablet or whatever it's called,
yeah.
And do one of those. I'm sure I said it wrong, and every artist that listens to this is like,
oh my god,
how can he say it? It's pronounced Wacom, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I have no idea. But yeah, lots of things. You know me, I'm a a dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I grew up watching Disney, and they told me to follow my dreams.
Disney.
Yeah. I mean, of course, growing up, for most of the time, I thought that the dream should be to marry a prince, right? Because that would make my life better. Because that was all the original Disney movies. It was just like, does your life suck? Marry a prince. It'll get great. But, I mean, turns out there's no royalty in America, so
yeah.
Whatever. I got a queen instead.
Oh, goodness.
I know, roll your eyes. But, so yeah, lots of random things going on. I don't know, thinking about stuff. Just like I said, lots of cool ideas bouncing around. I have a lot of homework to do.
Yes.
Lots of homework. Turns out that, you think that the homework ends when you finish school, but no, being a grown-up just means you have to do it on your own dang time.
Yeah.
And you don't get getting graded for it means that you either make a good game or don't make a good game.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see. I'm excited. Lots of stuff going on. So, yeah, so we've been all over the place. Talking about traveling and our babies and board games. And so why don't you tell us about the game you played?
Yeah. So this week, I was waiting for it. I was like, come on, let's go.
You're like, come on, Nick. Pitch it already.
All right. So this week, I played Atom Zombie Smasher.
Oh, yes. I remember this one.
And this is by Blendo Games. This came out in 2011, so this is a very old game. I think this is the oldest so far.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. This is tagged as real-time tactics, tower defense, zombies, and RTS.
Okay.
And so this game, it's really cute, but basically there's a zombie outbreak, and you are trying to go through these different, like, city districts. Where does this take place? It's somewhere...
It doesn't give you a specific area, I don't think. Isn't it, like, it's basically set up in Europe, right?
No, it's, like, South America somewhere.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't remember where.
I don't know. But it's not particularly relevant to the game.
Not relevant, but so you're going through these different like state or city zones.
Yeah, it's like different districts.
Yeah, different districts, I guess. Yeah. And when you start out, the first city that you go through, what the game looks like, it's a top-down view of a city, so you can see the buildings and streets. And on it's like one big square. So on certain streets, you'll see little purple like zombie heads, and that means that zombies are going to start coming from those streets. That's where they're going to enter the map. And then there's also a whole bunch of little yellow dots all in the city, and those are the survivors, the civilians that you're trying to save. And so you have to set up, at first it's just your helicopter.
Plop it down.
Yeah, you just plop down where you want your evac zone to be, and then the helicopter will come in. It'll sound like a horn as it's, it's descending. And then everyone in a certain area will hear it and start running towards the helicopter landing zone. And you're trying to get as many people out as you can. And then as you go, you get different military units. So you can get like ground forces. So it's like a little tank that you can move around, and it'll go and shoot the little zombies and kill them. You can get artillery, which you place on a building somewhere, and then every so often, you can also upgrade these things, but it'll you can tell it where to shoot, and it, like mortar fire will come down.
Yeah.
Then there's like gas that attracts the zombies, so you can turn that on. Yeah, so I think it's called Zed bait. But you can turn that on, and they'll all clump up around that because they're like, oh, this smells amazing.
Yeah, then you drop an artillery strike on them. It's like pow! Instead of only getting 20, you get 80.
Yeah. Then there's snipers, so you can set them up on a roof somewhere, and they'll shoot at stuff in their little zone. It's not very big zone.
Well, yeah, they have like a cone. I'm sure that gets bigger like with upgrades or something, right? Probably.
And then there are barricades, so you can barricade certain roads. You can't just completely block off the zombies. That is not allowed.
It does. Yeah, it tells you nope.
It tells you you can't do it. Yeah. But you can direct them more. So then there are mines. So if a zombie walks over it, it'll explode. And then there's dynamite, which you can set up, and then you trigger when they all go off.
Yeah.
And so basically, at first, you're just trying to save as many people as you can before night comes, because you have a little timer. It's like 30 to 40 seconds, and it varies based on, there's just like different scenarios. Like before you start your next day, it'll say, oh, there's less zombies, so there will be less zombies. And sometimes it's like, oh, it's a shorter daytime today,
so nightfall comes faster.
Things like that. or there's sometimes where it's raining and so the zombies move slower, or
everybody moves slower.
Or everyone moves slower, and then there's sometimes where the zombies move faster and stuff like that. And so, based on the different scenarios, you're trying to kill all of the zombies before nighttime, because at nighttime, all of the inlets to the little city square that you have, zombies will come from all of them.
Yeah.
And so there's no way to to stop them all from coming in and killing everyone. And so you're trying to kill all the zombies before nighttime falls, and if you do, then you win that territory, and it's claimed as like a civilian territory. And on the big world map where you can pick which sector you're going to, the way it counts points is by the number of people you saved, and then the number of territories you have.
Yeah.
And then the zombies get points by the number of people they infect, and the number of territories they have, and the level of infection in those territories.
Yeah, and like I remember it kind of sucking because it seemed like every time they would just spread. Like you have to make sure you kill all the Zed in that territory to claim it, but no matter what, the zombies claim an unclaimed territory like every time.
Every time the zombies are always claiming a territory, and then if there's so it's the level of infection ranges from 1 to 4, and if it gets to 4, then it will spread to all near territories.
Kind of like a outbreak in pandemic.
So that happens, and so then it gets even worse. And if they're next to each other, then they spread into each other, and so they increase each other's numbers and stuff like that. So you want them to stay away from each other, and then also not to get that big, and it's just hard. But then if you don't manage to kill all of the zombies during the day, then nighttime comes. People are probably just all gonna die. Well,
I mean, by then you will have evacuated at least 1 to 3 helicopter loads of people.
Yeah, and you actually have a like not a limit, a required amount of people that you have to evacuate.
The mission will say there's 100 people to win. You have to at least evacuate 60 or something.
Yeah. Starting out, it's a lot lower, but yeah, it gets up to like 60. So you have to be able to save a lot of people without them being infected first.
Yeah.
But if nighttime comes, and everyone gets infected, then no one wins as long as you get the amount of people you needed. So if it's 60, if you got 60 people out, then no one wins that, and it's just a black territory.
Yeah, it just remains unclaimed.
Yeah, it remains unclaimed, and nothing can happen there anymore. Zombies can't spread there, and you can't claim it.
Oh wow!
So it just takes it off the map completely.
See, I didn't know that. That's nifty. That would make me think twice about the areas I pick to go and do missions.
Yeah.
Because then I would want to pick areas to maybe slow the progress of the zombies.
Yeah, you could do it where you focus on the areas around, like clusters of territories owned by zombies, so that you can kind of like fence them in.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So that's another thing too. But also, every day, your units that you're taking into these missions are randomized. So you don't get to pick what units you want.
Oh, that's the worst part,
and I
in my
feel
opinion.
Like that's the hardest part of this game, is that you don't get to choose which things you're taking. Because if I could, I would take the ground forces, the snipers, the mines, and the
bait.
The bait. Because you could lure them all to one place. The ground guys are really good. They shoot a lot. The snipers will shoot a lot. The mines will blow up a lot of them to begin with. And that's like the easiest way to like clear something.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's like, oh, you get barricades, dynamite, mines, and one of the
artillery or something.
No, the bait. And it's like, well, how am I supposed to kill anything? Like, you can't.
Yeah.
You have to get very lucky that your explosions...
Like, the hardest one is the dynamite, because the dynamite, like, it makes it so that you only get the one shot. Mm-hmm. So, like, it'll be like, oh, you can place 3 dynamite and then detonate. But if you only place 1 dynamite and then detonate, you can't use the other 2 then after that. You only get to detonate once.
Yeah, so before you start, before the actual, like, mode starts, you have, like, your planning phase. And you get to decide, okay, I'm going to put a barricade there, my mines are going to go in this spot, things like that. And during that phase, you have to place all 3 of your dynamite. I think it's 4 even. No, it starts with 3 and then you upgrade to more. But you have to place them all. And when you blow it up, it blows up all of them.
Boom, boom.
And so, like, you can't, like, stagger them and be like, okay, they're all going to funnel this way, and then I'll blow that one, then I'll blow that one. You can't do that.
No, they all go off at once.
They all have to go off at once.
Dynamite's the worst, in my opinion.
But yeah, so, like, it gets really hard to try to kill all of them because you can't in some instances based on what you're given.
Yeah.
Later on, you do get you have to start rescuing scientists. You get science points based on how many scientists in these series you can rescue.
And they'll be little blue pips, right?
Yeah,
among all the
golden
golden ones.
Yeah, and they give you access to, there's like this mega cannon.
The llama bomb. Or no, the llama cannon.
No, I don't know if it's called llama.
I thought there was like a llama bomb or something like that. I remember it being like something goofy, and I was like, what?
It's like the mega bird or something like that.
Maybe there's multiple. I think that there's multiple research things.
There are, but you can...
I think the llama bomb you can use to blow up things on the map, right? Or are you talking about... Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about, like, once you unlock the scientists and you rescue some, then the first thing you get is, like, this cannon thing that it charges based on the amount of people you've rescued. Oh. And so the more people you rescue, the more charges of this you get. And it's like the artillery, but on steroids. Because when you put it down, it'll shoot, like, 8 different shots into that area.
Oh, that's right. It'll be like boom, 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 and it'll drop buildings and zombies and civilians with reckless abandon.
Yeah, so then you can unlock that, and like you said, there's other things you can unlock. I've only ever gotten to that part, and I'm like way behind because the zombies have infected with
I think I got like one research thing past that.
Mm-hmm.
I was also way behind, so it didn't help. I think the second thing is the llama bomb.
Okay. And
the llama bomb is used, I don't remember how the heck it charges.
Yeah.
But you use it in the world map, and it lets you can bomb a zombie territory.
Okay.
To poof it, so they're not getting points from it anymore.
Oh, that's nice.
And but like I said, I think you have to like win so many missions before you can use it again.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what's that? They have a level 3 infection. Wow.
Gone.
I was like, pinata their asses. And so, but
yeah, so it's really fun. There's a lot to the game.
We've never won.
It's very hard.
It's so hard, but so fun.
It's really fun, though. And then there's times where it's like, okay, I'm going to start, and this will be good. Like, I'm going to be able to get this. And there's one where I was playing recently where I was like, okay, oh, I'm so close. Like, I'm going to kill all the people. And there's one zombie left, and it just turned night. And I was like, no, restart. So I restart the map, and then they got it, and they got it right at the like last second.
Yeah, it was like the whole movie theater, like 0 or 2, 1.
Yeah,
and they cut the red wire.
Exactly, and I was like, yes, we won the territory, because I was like, there's no way. I know I can win this one. I've got the snipers, I've got the artillery, I've got the ground troops. Like, I can do this.
The perfect storm of events.
Yeah, so I did. But yeah, it's really fun. I really like this game.
Yeah, no, it's really great. I remember. This was one, I think, that you saw Sips play it.
A long time ago.
I don't remember, well, I did eventually, but you were like, I remember I asked you one time, because I was looking through your Steam library, and I was like, what is this game?
Yeah.
Like, it's got zombie in the name, so I'm curious.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, I watched Sips play it, and you pulled the video up, and I was like, that looks fun.
Yeah,
I was
it's
like, I
really
want to try
fun.
that, and so I tried it, and yeah, it's hard.
It's really hard, though.
And it's one of those ones, like, I've never had a game be so completely where I go in with so much hope, and I'm just, like, so beaten down. And I love Dark Souls, but this game just beats me down, and I'm like, I was doing so good.
It's great.
And then it gave me barricades and dynamite only.
I know. Oh,
so,
yes.
But yeah, Adam Zombie Smasher.
Adam Zombie Smasher.
It's really cool. By Blendo Games.
Yep, an oldie but a goodie.
Oldie but goodie. Say, definitely, if you're looking for some strategic, roguelike, light. Well, because not roguelite, it's just procedurally generated.
Yeah.
Because the maps are always different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they always look the same, but, like, the way the streets and all that curve in and out and all that, the scenarios are always different.
Yes.
It throws together a random
thing. And then it's always random
thing.
What units you take and what the day's effects are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool game. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool game. I really like it. You really like it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cool. So, the game that I played this week is called This is the Police. I think this is another oldie but goodie. I think it came out in 2016?
Yes.
So not as old as yours, obviously, but still a fantastic game. Its tags on, it was developed by, I think it's pronounced Weepy? I don't know. I'm gonna go Weepy, because it's, Weepy Studio, and published by THQ Nordic. THQ, man. I've seen several games by THQ. So, by THQ Nordic, specifically, I think. Its tags on Steam are strategy, management, story rich, crime, and indie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that those all fit pretty well.
Yeah.
It's a pretty neat game. In case you couldn't guess, it is about a police force. You take on the role of a character named Jack Boyd. And he is the current police chief of like I don't remember the name of this city, like the Metro something PD, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some random city, like, you know, River City or something obscure and random, you know, like it could be anything.
Right.
Basically, at the start of the game, the mayor comes out, who is just a total tool, and is like, Jack, we don't like you. We're forcing you out in like 180 days.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, your pension's screwed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, because they're kicking him out, so basically you take on the role of this police chief who you know in 180 days, you're done skis.
Yeah.
And you also know you don't have any retirement.
Yeah.
So your goal is to save up $500,000 by the end of 180 days.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like you taking on that daunting task while managing a police force.
Mm-hmm.
So the base gameplay for this is that you go through days, right? Every turn is a day.
Mm-hmm.
And when a day starts, it'll prompt you like, hey man, pick out a record. And it'll have like a stack of records you can pick from, and you pick from, and they could be anywhere from like rock and roll to jazz to lots of stuff. Mostly I like the jazz records. I listen to those a lot.
Yeah.
But you pick out a record, and then it shows like a model of the city kind of thing, which is, I think, the way that in the meta, like in the game, it's a model that's in Jack's office.
Yes.
Because it always starts with like the blinds being opened and like the shadow that's on the map goes away.
Yeah.
So it's Jack opening up the blinds. And
there's also like a cigarette butt
next to the map.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's right next to the city. You're right. So
this
is totally the map in Jack's office.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically you respond to calls that come in.
Yeah.
Like you have the A shift and the B shift, so you alternate every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll show you what people are there. So every day you might have random things where like someone's like, hey boss, I'm tired, can I go home?
Or I'm really drunk.
Yes. And so like random things like that can happen. Or it could be something random like, my daughter's having a dance recital, can I go instead of working today? You know, and you have to make your calls. Like so you could always tell them yes, no, or yes, but come in tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so you just kind of pick. There's also times where like people just don't show up to work, you know, so you might be like a man or two short every day.
Yeah.
I've had times where like I did make the mistake of letting somebody work drunk once.
They died.
And they died.
Yeah.
Like I was under the impression that like if I put them with somebody, like they would drive together to the scene, but no. The person crashed their car and died, and I was like, okay, we're not doing that ever again. Ever again. What does do a cool thing is like, so you can choose to hire and fire people on your own. And so if you keep telling people to go home because they're drunk, I guess the game keeps record of that. So if you say to fire them, it'll be like, do you want to fire them without grounds or do you want to fire them with grounds? Like you know, like did you have reason to fire them?
Yeah.
Well, the with grounds only populates if like they've come in drunk or they have no call, no showed kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool. I was like, yeah, you come in 4 days in a row drunk, get out of my police force, man. Not gonna happen. I can't have people dying, which when you're responding to these police calls, people can die.
Yes.
Which is
awful.
And yeah, like I've had it where like I had like I went for like 30 days where everything went great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had like one day where half the A shift died. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
But so like what happens is you get these random calls. So on the map, a little pop-up will happen with a countdown timer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you got 15 seconds and like some little police chatter like, we got a 452. We'll play lightly in the background, you know, like police chatter. It's great.
Yeah.
And you click on the little bubble, and a scenario pops. And it's just a picture of like a random building. Usually, it's like a school or a skyscraper or a stadium. There's like a lot of repeat places. Like stuff happens at the stadium a lot,
yeah,
and at the park a lot, which
yeah.
I guess is probably pretty common for a city, but I have no idea. I don't know anything about crime rates.
Yeah.
But you click on it, and then it's got a whole, like a blurb of text there. So if you don't like reading, then don't play this game.
Yeah, you have to read.
Because there's a lot of reading. And so, like, it'll be like, okay, you know, we've got a call, so-and-so called in and said that someone snatched their purse at the park. They tried to go after them, and the person's hiding in, like, some shrubs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want to send? And so you've got your 8 to 10 cops that are listed at the bottom, and they all have different numbers next to their names, which is like their I think the game calls it their professionalism level.
Oh, okay.
But it's their rank, basically.
Yeah.
The higher the number, the better. So rookie cops are going to have really low numbers, and the senior cops are going to have really high numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever you send people to a call and they successfully handle the call, they get some points.
Yeah.
So if you send the seasoned people to handle calls, they will typically handle the call without having to ask for help.
Yeah.
But if you send rookies into the job, you'll get little pop-ups that are like, the police arrive at the scene. They find the distressed person that called. They see the bushes. They're shaking. What do you want to do? And it gives you like 3 options. And it's usually like 2 ridiculous options and then one that sounds right.
Yeah, like shoot into the bushes.
Yeah, shoot into the bushes. Crawl in the bushes and call for the person. Or, I don't know, surround the bush and say, this is the police. Come out with your hands up. So like one makes sense. I have found that throughout the game, usually the one that says tase the person is the right one.
Okay.
9 times out of 10, if you have the cops tase the suspect, they catch him and no one dies.
Okay.
I did have one time when I told them to tase the person, and then 3 of the 4 cops I sent died. That was once.
Yeah.
Every other time I've hit taser, it was great. But you can also do is a lot of times, as the game progresses, you are working your way through the story, and Jack meets a lot of different people. So, like, you meet the mayor right away. He's a jerk. As you're going, you also meet, like, the head of the mob family, who is an interesting person. You meet the head of, like, this big business. So, like, it's like this, like, super industrial mogul guy that is, like, a very influential person in the city. And, like, I think you eventually meet, like, the archbishop and stuff like that. And they're all crooked in their own way, all of them they're all crooked, including Jack.
Yeah, because I mean, how else are you going to get $500,000 in 180 days?
Exactly. So Jack goes in knowing that he's going to have to do some shady stuff. He's just got to be careful so he doesn't get himself arrested. And so, like, that's one of the things, like, the easiest way I found to make money is that depending upon the case, like, a lot of times it'll be like, oh, there was a shooter situation or something like that. And, like, when they arrest the guy, for evidence, they have, like, firearms, and there's automatic and semi-automatic, or non-automatic and automatic weapons you can get. Well, you can either put it in evidence and it goes away, or you can give it to the mafia and tell them to sell it for you. And so I basically, like, almost every time we got evidence, I gave it to the mafia.
Yeah, because it's drugs and money.
Yeah,
and
cocaine,
jewelry.
explosives, money, jewelry. Like I said, whenever there's a crime that talks about a specific thing being used, usually that comes into the evidence.
Yeah.
And what's cool is when you get the money, you can either pocket all of the cash, or you give half of it to your staff to keep them happy. No, but it's cool because if you just keep taking the money and don't give any to the staff, eventually people will start to report you.
Yeah.
And investigations can happen and stuff like that. And I had one where I had the investigation happen, and like all these different people you meet, like the industry guy and the mob and stuff, they all have different benefits you can do where you have to spend your money and you get something.
Yeah.
Like the mob people, I could have paid them to basically intimidate the insight committee that was looking into my crimes. I didn't do it, and then I think my salary got cut because every 7 days you get a salary.
Yeah.
And so they cut my salary in half, which I was like, it's not the worst thing. I'm making like 15 times that salary by giving drugs to the mafia.
Yeah.
Which sounds really bad saying out loud,
Yes.
but still. And it's really, honestly, I really like it. I haven't finished it yet. I'm at day, like, 110.
So you're close.
I'm getting close.
Yeah.
It does have a really cool, the story does progress. Every so many days, they'll have, like, cutscenes that are, like, these, like, still motion. Like, it'll have, like, a picture of, like, kind of, like, this abstract art-looking thing. Like, Jack is, like, this, usually is this chubby guy in a wife-beater, drinking a beer. Is usually Jack, 'cause people come to his house.
Yeah.
It's always people coming to the police chief's house. It's either the mob or the mayor or somebody. And so it follows his story as it progresses and the stuff that he has to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty cool. Like, as you're going, different story events will happen. Like, eventually you have big cases because you also have detectives on top of having cops. And so you can assign detectives to, like, big cases, like homicides, and, like, you can investigate different gangs and stuff like that to try to bring them down. And the detectives will basically spend every day, they'll pull in new Polaroid shots, little pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And you go in and they'll basically get evidence. So you pull up the case and it has like 5 different clues at the top you can read. and then they give you a bunch of pictures, and it's like, well, can you line the pictures up in the correct order
Based on the story.
that match the story at the top?
Well, and the story it's not just a story, it's like eyewitness details.
Yeah, it's all information. Like, it'll be like, we interviewed the person who got their car stolen, the 2 kids that were across the street, there's security cam footage from one place, there's whatever. It's all stuff like that.
I feel like there's one time at least that 2 of the accounts didn't match each other.
Well, yeah, that happens a lot.
Like, one said it was a white car, and the other one said it was a black car.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, well, which one makes more sense in this? And
you've got to compare it to the other stories.
Yeah.
Because, like, a lot of times, like, the photos you'll get will match, like, you'll have 2. Like, you have a picture of a black car and a picture of a yellow car, and you're like, well, a black car was only mentioned once, yellow was mentioned twice, so we're going to put yellow in there. And so it's pretty cool. And then, like, when you actually complete the storyline, because, like, it starts off with, like, all of them have a Polaroid at the end and beginning.
Yes.
But you have to fill in the middle. Well, it starts off where, like, okay, it's, like, 5 pictures long. And then, like, I have one case that they're working on now that's, like, 12 pictures long.
Oh, wow.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, my gosh. And, like, every day, they'll bring in 1 to 3 new Polaroids as they investigate the case. You can also assign multiple detectives to it, and that'll increase how many Polaroids they bring in as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets pretty nuts. I had one case where I'd given up on it because I thought I tried every combination. And so I had one guy sit on it for, like, a month, like 30 days.
Yeah.
And finally, on, like, the 30th day, he brought in 1 extra Polaroid.
And it solved it.
And it was like, that's the one I needed. Come on, man. And so we solved the case. And when you solve the case, then you send the detective along with two blue shirts.
Yeah, 2 cops.
To go and arrest the suspects. So there might be multiple, there might be 1, but you always have to send the lead detective out with them.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. And then different stuff happens in the story. Like, there's different times that the mayor just shows how corrupt the mayor is. Like,
yes.
At one point, he's like, oh, I don't like women, so fire all the women on your police force.
Yeah.
I think the blurb of text was more complicated than that.
But it was basically that.
But it was basically that. And so it's like, do you comply with the mayor, or do you just say no? Or it's, you have X amount of time to comply with the mayor.
Yeah.
And so I was like, half my police force is women. No, I'm not doing that.
Well, also, that's just bad.
Well, I know. But, like so basically, like, after a while, the mayor stops asking for ridiculous stuff like that. At least, like I said, I'm only, like, 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's going to get worse. But, like I said, I only had him ask me for random, like, firings twice.
Mm-hmm.
And both times I was like, no, those are my workers. Usually, all of these people you meet, you know, the mob or the industry guy, they just be like, hey, I have a random X, Y, and Z, and I need so many cops to come and attend to this thing for a few hours or the whole day.
Yeah.
And so you'll have to send you can send cops to go
There's
and make them happy.
There's also some where they're like, oh, there's going to be something going down at the docks tonight.
That's the mob.
Don't send anyone.
Yeah. They'll be like at 1800 hours, you know, we've got some business at the candy factory. No one's going to stop us, right? And so if you don't respond to that call, you have to remember that you got that note.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't tell you, you just have to remember. And so if you don't send someone, afterwards they're like, we appreciate it, and they pass you like $2,000, you know? It's not a lot, but it's something.
Yeah.
And so that happens a lot. It's really cool. I really like it. It's a simple, like I said, it's just a chill game. You put on the nice jazz music, you answer the calls. All of the calls are really interesting and unique, and they're just random. And what I really like is there's a lot of red herrings, which I'm sure the police probably have to deal with all the time, where it's someone's being stupid. Like, I had one where they called and they're like, there was this man, and he was eating feces outside the grocery store, and he just had a grin on his face and was looking at me in front of children and everyone. And so I was like, dumb. So I sent some cops to go and check, because it was a slow time, there weren't that many calls. They go, and it's like, turns out it was nothing. The man was just eating some foreign treats he'd bought on a trip to Japan recently.
Yeah.
And, like, someone just called. Or someone will be like, there's a diner worker has called and said there's a suspicious man in the booth. He's been there all day and he keeps giving her weird looks. And it's like, they go, turns out the man had just gotten fired and he's trying to figure out his life.
Yeah.
You know? Like, the man had just been, like, laid off.
Yeah.
And he's trying to figure out his life. And so there's a lot of calls like that. And so you have to kind of guess, because if you don't send anybody, then the worst outcome that could happen with that call happens.
Yeah.
So, like, because, like, sometimes if you make the wrong choices, civilians could die, officers could die, person gets away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm unsure of what the consequences of civilians dying in the game is, really, because I've had it happen a lot.
I would say that if enough happens, they would just fire you.
You would think. But, like, eventually, like, you meet a guy who gives you, like, a little note with your paper every morning that says, like, if City Hall's happy with you and if the mob's happy with you. And I had one day where, like, 8 people died. Okay. 8 civilians. Like I said, it was a rough day.
Yeah.
That was also the day that I had, like, half my cops die, too. And City Hall was 3 out of 3. They were like, yeah, you're doing great, Jack. And I was like, what is going on with this city?
Yeah.
But I don't know. So like I said, I really like it. Like I said, I got like 80 more days to go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to finish it and see what the story goes. I think there's a sequel.
Okay.
So I'm excited to check that out. It does have some big overarching ones. Like there was one period where like there's like a serial killer that you have to track down, and like you actually have a time limit and stuff to figure out and have your detectives work it out. I was like, oh my god, am I going to catch him? And we caught a guy, but like afterwards, like I'm not sure if it was the right guy, you know. And I hate that it's kind of like, did you get him? Did you? It's like, I don't know, but the FBI was helping, so maybe.
Oh god.
So I have no idea, but it's really cool. I really like it a lot. Would recommend. It has a very minimalist art style, which I thought was really cool. And it's just a simple game. Like, it's literally just, you sit there and you click on little pop-ups, you read the thing, you can choose to send some cops and some SWAT, and there you go.
Yeah.
So, really like it. This is The Police by Weepy Studio. Really cool. Would recommend.
Awesome.
Yeah, so those were our 2 games, and the board game we played this week is called Chickapig. So, this game was designed by Brian Calhoun, who, until I saw it on the instruction manual, is apparently a football player. I had no idea. I'm not a sports guy, so I don't know. But apparently he's a football player. So, yeah, Chickapig is it's an interesting little game about hybrid chickens and pigs trying to slide across a board into a goal.
Yeah.
Is the most watered down version of this game I can think of to explain. It's for 2 or 4 players, because you cannot play with 3. No. It's either 2 or 4. And basically the way that it works is everybody's got X amount of little pig tokens, and you have to slide them into the opposite goal on the map. Yes. Like kind of weird barn animal soccer.
Yeah.
And when you move your pigs, they have to just they keep sliding in the direction you pick until they reach an object. Either it's the edge of the map, or another pig, or an obstacle that's in the map. And you just have to keep doing that until you can, like, slide them into the goal. Like some weird video game puzzle where you just push the block and it goes. You can also choose to move you have little hay bales that you can move around as obstacles, or aids to help your own guys get places. So it was a neat concept. It does you basically every turn you roll a 6-sided dice, and depending upon what you roll, that determines how many moves you can make.
Yes.
So there are some special things. So like this has got where if you roll a 1, you can move the cow.
Yeah, and the cow starts off in the middle of the board. And when you roll a 1, you put him wherever you want on the board. And when he moves to that space, he leaves a pile of poop behind.
Yeah. And if somebody else rolls a 1, they move the cow again, right?
Yeah.
Or can you always move the cow?
Well, you can always move the cow as one of your moves, but it won't poop.
Unless you roll a 1.
Unless you roll a 1.
Yeah. And basically, just like how you wouldn't want to step in poop, you don't want your people to slide through poop, because you draw poop cards. And poop cards are all bad cards.
Yes.
So there's that.
And then if you roll a 2, you get to draw a daisy card, which are always really good things.
Yeah.
And the one thing I would say is that if I were to play this one again or more, I would get rid of the poop and the daisy cards.
Yeah. I would say like you because like the cow starts in the center as like a centralized obstacle.
So that you can't just
slide straight across.
Yeah.
I would leave that there.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I would remove the poop and the daisy cards, because it's a really interesting strategy game. Kind of a strategy puzzle sort of deal, where it's like, we're each competing to see who can get, like, I think the goal for at least 2 players was to get 4 of your 6 pigs through.
Yeah, I think so.
Before the other person does. And it's kind of neat. The cards are immensely overpowered. Both the poop and the daisies.
Yeah, like the daisy ones, there were some where it's like, just completely ignore an obstacle. Which, in this game, is very critical, because the obstacles, if an opponent places an obstacle in front of your thing, it's so that you don't go that way. And if you're just completely ignore it, then what's the point of the obstacles anyway?
Exactly.
Then there was one where...
There was one that lets you take another turn. There's one that lets you...
double the roll of your die.
Yeah.
And so if you rolled a 6 and you're holding onto that card, then you get 12 moves and you can just basically win.
Yeah.
Because we calculated it. Like, you could win a game with just 12 moves.
Yeah, assuming, like, the setup was right, you could do it.
Yeah, and so it's like... that's a bit overpowered. And then the poop cards, it's like, lose a turn. That's not that bad. Then there was... Take
a pig you've scored out of the thing and
put it back
on the board.
At the beginning.
Like that. Like, that's just...
I don't remember what the other ones were.
I honestly don't remember. Those were the two that we drew.
Yeah.
But, like, those are both really bad. Like, I remember that was the only reason I won one of the games we played was because you were there at the end and you hit the poop and it was take a pig out of the goal. And it's like, wow, that.
Yeah.
And it cost you the game because you were about to win.
And then the second one you won because you had to ignore the obstacle.
Yeah, where
and so
I jumped over your hay bale into the goal.
Yeah, and it was like, how does that make sense? Like, the whole point of the game is to put the obstacles in a way, like, it's strategy.
Yeah.
If you're going to say just completely ignore it, like, why even have them?
Like I said, I mean, and it's kind of like, as much as we didn't like the cards, I still really liked the game.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would just ignore the cards. Have a 1 and a 2 just be a 1 and a 2 for how many moves you get.
Yeah.
Because it's a really neat strategy game about moving your stuff across the board and, like, the whole
trying to block
laws of physics thing, you know, an object in motion remains in motion until, until it beats another object kind of thing. I like that. I think it's cute.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me think of, like this game has to have existed before. Like, this would be something ancient that people would play on, like, a piece of wood with rocks, you know?
Yeah.
Like Moncala and stuff like that. You know, like, it's got to be an old game.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it. The whole sliding a piece until it stops, and then there's obstacles to either stop or help you. Like, that seems like a very base game mechanic.
Yeah, like, not to be all Disney again, but like tale as old as time kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is a simple concept that there's no way it hasn't been thought of before.
Right.
But I really like it. It's cute. I mean, I think this has got to be... It's definitely not our first American-developed game we've played.
No.
But, like, it's pretty neat. Like, it's a really cool concept. I do want to try it out with 4 people. I feel like 4 people, the map would be a bit more chaotic.
Yeah, I think it would be a lot more interesting
Especially if
with 4.
you keep that center block in there.
Yeah, because then you have to go into other people's areas.
So, like, if I'm getting across to you, I'd have to go through player 2 or player 3 and 4's areas to get, and so it's like I'd be hitting their pigs and their hay bales and all that, and I'd be like, oh my god, will you move your hay?
Use them strategically. Like, I'm gonna bounce off that pig and then I'm gonna do a hard left that way.
Exactly. So it's a pretty cool game.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's super easy to learn and play. I just think the cards are a little bit overpowered.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like I said, it was the kind of thing, like, I would definitely give it a high rating. I would play this again. Definitely got to be like, next time Jacob comes to visit, we drag it out and go play with my big brother.
I was going to say that would be 3 of us.
I know. I was like, then we'll walk over to my brother's house and we'll play with...
Well, then there is also the thing where you can just play one-on-one where we're each controlling one.
Oh, that's right.
And then you could also just put it on a diagonal and then each player controls 2 colors.
That's right. Like, I remember we pulled it out and we were going to play, and, like, the rules, I think, recommended that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that sounds complicated. Let's just play 1 color versus 1 color instead of 2 versus 2, because... Yeah. My brain can only process so much, and while I'm not saying I'm bad at strategy, because I think I can plan ahead, it was just a lot to think about when you're learning a new game.
Yeah.
You know? And so, I'd recommend it. It's available in a lot of retailers, especially in the States. Like, I think I've seen it at, like, Target and Walmart and stuff like that. So it's a cool game. Mm-hmm. Definitely something, like I said, for our recommendation, I would say play it without the cards.
Yeah.
But... maybe you have different thoughts on it. You try it out, and maybe you'll like the poop and the daisies more. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty cool game. Mm-hmm. So, Chickapig by Brian Calhoun, and it was published by Chickapig Farms. I'm guessing self-published.
Yeah.
So, cool. One thing I will say about this game was I thought that the components all felt really nice quality.
Yeah.
The cards felt good. The tokens themselves, the pigs and the hay bales,
or like wooden,
are nice little wooden like. They almost felt like that, like, I don't know what you want to call it. Like, it's not cardboard, but, like, heavier than cardboard kind of deal. Like,
it seems like really, not really thin, because they're like maybe like a quarter of an inch thick, but like, plywood or
Yeah.
MDF type of wood.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Very high quality. Like, you'd have to go out of your way to break these pieces.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty cool. It does come with a egg timer as well to make sure that no one takes too long on their turn.
Yeah, but it's a sand timer.
Yeah.
So if like I finish my turn before the timer ends, then you have to either wait for the rest of the sand to go through
Yeah.
or
So-
flip it back. Like
So if you want to play
that
with
was
the
a little
timer
weird.
rules, you might want to just use your own phone timer and give everyone a minute.
Yeah.
So just an idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a good game though. I liked it.
Yeah,
It was fun.
it's really good. I would recommend. Like I said, I liked it a lot. I think it would probably be a lot more interesting with 4 people than with 2.
Definitely.
But that's just my random thought. You know, I don't know.
Well, we got to play 2 each next
Yeah,
time.
that's what we'll have to do. We'll have to do it. We'll break it out. All right. Well, that's gonna be it for us for today.
Yes.
We hope that y'all enjoyed the game. So we had Adam Zombie Smasher, This Is the Police, and Chickapig.
Yep.
So go check them out. We'll have links in the field notes below, and we'll catch you guys next time. Toodles.
Bye.
If you're digging the Unearthing Games podcast, give us a positive rating on your podcast directory, or give us a thumbs up on the YouTube channel. Share the podcast with your DM, or your local game store owner, or your dog, or even check out our website, unearthinggames.com. If you have any suggestions for games you'd like to hear us talk about, or maybe even play, email us at unearthinggamespodcast@gmail.com. The Unearthing Games podcast is recorded in front of a live puppy audience. All borks, ruffs, jingles, and squeaks are completely original and not added in post.